Hello and namaste everyone. I am Dr. Suraj Sharma, a forensic expert currently working in the Ministry of Health and Population in Medical Legal Unit. So today I am going to continue with this CE review session and I am going to discuss on the topic forensic ballistics. But before doing that, I am suggesting you to refer standard textbooks. So let us begin with the topic. So forensic ballistics, it is the study of firearms. Uh, so firearms, they are small and large firearms. Small firearms, they can be, as shown in the figure, they can be handguns, such as revolvers or pistols. And large firearms, they can be shotguns and rifles. So firearms are broadly classified into two. They are rifled firearms and smoothbore firearms. This classification is based on a term called rifling. So you might wonder what rifling is. Rifling, it is the cutting of the inner part of the barrel into lands and grooves, as shown here in the picture. So these lands, lands are the raised part of the inner part of the barrel, and the grooves are the depressed part. So rifled firearms, they have rifling, whereas the smoothbore firearms, they are deficit of rifling. That means they don't have rifling in their barrel. So another term is called choking. Choking is the narrowing of the end part of the barrel. Besides barrel, there are many other parts of the firearms, such as the muzzle, the trigger, the hammer, the grip, and there are many other parts of the firearm which I would be dealing later on and not in this session. So let us go to the next slide. So as you can see here in the slide, there is an MCQ example. All are parts of the firearm except the first one bolt, second one piston, the third extractor, and the fourth handle. So what do you think about the correct answer? So in firearms, there is a bolt, there is a piston as well, and there is an extractor, but there is no handle. So here in this question, the correct answer is handle. So you might wonder in which weapon handle is present. So the handle is present in weapons such as knives and not in firearms. So let us go to the next MCQ example. So in this question, it is said sequence of events in firing in chronological order is number one, pulling of trigger, firing pin hit, burning of powder, and bullet projection. Or number two, pulling of trigger, burning of powder, firing pin hit, and bullet projection. Or number three, pulling of trigger, firing pin hit, and bullet projection. Or none of the above. So, what do you think about the correct answer? So, the correct answer is number one, that is pulling of trigger, firing pin hit, burning of powder, and bullet projection. That means when a person pulls the trigger of the firearm, the firing pin, it hits the primer, a component of the cartridge. It is the primer. The primer gets ignited, and then the powder gets burned, and the bullet is projected. So the correct answer is number one. So let us go to the next slide. So what do you think about ballistic fingerprints? So ballistic fingerprints, they are the impressions made on the bullet or the cartridge of the firearm during the firing of the firearm, firing of the ammunition of the firearm. So what do you think about ammunition? Ammunition, it is the bullet, not the cartridge. So ballistics is broadly classified into three. Number one is internal ballistics, second is external, and the third one is terminal ballistics. So internal ballistics, it is the yeah, यसमा पुरै अलिकति अड्क्यो. So internal ballistics, it is the movement of the bullet inside the firearm, and the external ballistics, it is the movement of the bullet from the muzzle end to the target side. And the terminal ballistics, it is the ballistics related to the wound that is made from the bullet of the firearm or ammunition of the firearm, that is the target side. So let us go to the next MCQ example. So here it says, in cartridge case, the cartridge contains number one, ammunition case, number two, primer, third one is the bullet, or all of the above. So what do you think about the answer to this question? So in cartridge case, cartridge contains, it contains the ammunition case as well as the primer as well as the bullet. So the answer is all. So before knowing about this question, you need to know what cartridge is and what it contains. So you need to know what cartridge is and what bullet is. So cartridge is the component of the firearm which contains the bullet. So there are many parts of the cartridge, such as the cartridge case and the primer, as I have already mentioned. Next one is the gunpowder, which is also called propellant charge, and the last one is the bullet. So bullets are present in the rifled firearms, whereas pellets are present in the shotguns or weapons in which there is no rifling. So these are also called projectiles. Next one is the wets. Wets are always present in the shotguns, but not in the rifled firearms. That is, they are present in the smoothbore weapons. And the cartridges, they are center fire and rim fire cartridges, which I am going to discuss it in the next slide. So as you can see in this picture, this is the anatomy of the cartridge. So this cartridge contains the cartridge case. It contains the cartridge case, and it contains the primer. It contains the gunpowder, and lastly the bullet. So this primer is used for ignition. The primer, when the primer gets ignited, then the gunpowder is burnt. It burns, and it helps in the projection of the bullet forward. So here in this picture, there is also a term called rim, which is the base of the cartridge. So as I have already said, there are two types of cartridges: center fire and rim fire cartridges. So the center fire cartridges contains the primer in the center, and rim fire cartridges, it contains the primer in the periphery, not in the center. So let us go to the next slide. The primer, as I have already discussed here in the picture, the primer is composed of lead stiffenate, barium nitrate, antimony sulfide, lead peroxide, and potassium chlorate, as well as tetrazine. And the gunpowder is mainly composed of potassium nitrate, about 75%, and rest are the sulfur and charcoal. So let us go to the next MCQ example. A bullet that fragments on impact. What is the bullet that fragments on impact? Number 1, tangible. Number 2, dum-dum. Number 3, tandem bullet. Number 4, pressure bullet. So what do you think about the answer to this question? So the correct answer is number 1, tangible bullet. Tangible bullet, it fragments on impact to the target site. So other types of bullet are dum-dum bullet, tandem bullet, also known as piggyback bullet. Next one is the souvenir bullet. And then lastly, incendiary bullet. So dum-dum bullet, it is a jacketed bullet. That means a jacket is present around the bullet, and it is always present in center fire rifle. The jacket is the cover. It does not cover the entire bullet, only a part of the bullet. And the area near the nose is left uncovered to expose the core. So next one is the tandem bullet, also known as piggyback bullet. Here in this case, यसमा अलिकति फेरि यो नेक्स्ट वान इज द ट्यान्डम बुलेट, त्यहाँबाट फेरि कन्टिन्यू गरौँ, अरू अघि ठिकै थियो, कन्टिन्यू गरौँ. So next one is the tandem bullet, also known as piggyback bullet. So this is the second bullet. It is the second bullet after त्यो पिगीब्याक बुलेट भनेपछि फेरि कन्टिन्यू गरौँ. So this is the second bullet that follows the first bullet after being stuck in the barrel, and it fails to leave the barrel. And the piggyback bullet, it follows the first bullet after being ejected. So next one is the souvenir bullet. It is the bullet present for a long time in the target site or the in human body, is in the soft tissues. So no fresh bleeding is present, and it is covered by dense fibrous capsule. And lastly, the incendiary bullet. It is the type of army bullet used to cause fire in the target, which causes severe damage. So let us go to the next MCQ example. There is burning, blackening, tattooing around a firearm with cherry red color of the surrounding tissues with cruciate shape. The injury is number 1, close shot entry or intermediate wound. Secondly, close contact exit. Third is contact shot entry, and lastly, distant entry shot. So entry wound, it is the wound made by the ammunition on the target site. So it might be small entry wound, or it might be devastating large wound. So exit wound, it is the wound made after the bullet exits the target site. So these two terms are different. So entry wounds, they are classified mainly into 3 on the basis of range of fire, which are the contact wound, intermediate wound, and distant wound. So contact wound, it is made when the firearm or the muzzle of the firearm is in contact with the target site. So the in contact wound, the muzzle imprint might be present, but in intermediate and distant wound, the muzzle imprint is absent. In intermediate wound, there is a term called powder tattooing. So powder tattooing, it occurs in the periphery of the entry wound. It appears like round wounds as shown in the picture. So these are a powder tattooing, and this is the entry wound. So in distant wound, there is no powder tattooing. Powder tattooing absent in distant wound, but present in intermediate wound. And powder tattooing is also absent in contact wound. So there are many other features of the यसमा अलिकति अड्क्यो म के भन्छ अरू धेरै कुराहरू छन् भन्दाखेरि के भन्छ यसमा अरू धेरै कुराहरू छन् भन्दाखेरि इङ्ग्लिसमा कसरी भन्ने देयर आर मेनी अदर features uh, of features of entry wounds which is going to be discussed later on भन्नु पर्ला है किनकि यो त ब्रिफ हो नि त यो लास्ट हो जस्तो लाग्यो कन्टिन्यू गर So besides these features, there are many other features of the entry wounds which will be dealt later on. So this wraps up the session for today. Thank you. हजुर ए मैले एन्सर भनिनँ ए होइन यो एमसिक्यू होइन यो ए यसको एन्सर भनिनँ हो सरी मिस्टेक भयो यसमा त्यो के अरे देयर आर मेनी अदर फिचर्स भनेर त्यहाँसम्म भयो दिस ऱ्याप्स अप चाहिँ त्यो काटियो त्यो लास्टमा भन्नु पऱ्यो होइन भयो त्यसपछि भनौँ फेरि भनौँ So let us go to the question which I was discussing about. So there is burning, blackening, tattooing around the firearm wound with the red color of the surrounding tissues with crochet shape. The injury is. So what do you think about the answer to this question? Whether it is close shot entry or intermediate wound, whether it is close contact exit or contact shot entry or distant entry shot. So the correct answer is number 1, intermediate close shot entry wound, because there is, as you can see here, there is the powder tattooing which is only present in intermediate wounds. So this wraps up the session for today. I hope this was productive for your upcoming entrance exam.